The RotoGrinders Daily Fantasy Football Podcast is presented to you by Yahoo Sports Daily Fantasy. Again, check them out this week 12 where we've got our baller contest back. It's $200,000 total prize pool, $20K going to first place, $10 entry. And remember, you can now mass multi-enter on Yahoo, and you can do it using our Lineup HQ tool over on RotoGrinders.com.
Welcome back to the absolutely epic early week podcast, week 12. Dean here, Dean 7904. If you want to get all technical on me, usual suspects as well. Batting first is one Travis Mangone, the big loser from last week. We're going to do something a little different, by the way. We're going to open up with tweets or consequences because myself and Grant are super, super giddy. We cannot wait to talk about it. Mangone, we talked about a pre-show. We kind of told you this is the best. We've peaked. We feel like we've peaked. It's not going to get any better. I assume you're excited.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you guys overhyped this thing. Like, you guys talked about this thing last week. Like, you guys have really built this thing up. It's built up like you're, I don't know, like it's Andre Blatch. You know what I mean? Like this is a terrible.
Andre Blatch. I thought of he had a lot of hype. Andre Blatch.
I don't know. It sounds like I just thought of like a bust. I guess Ryan Leaf would do the better one, but and we're watching the
Jamarcus
right now,
Russell.
So. Yeah, Jamarcus Russell. That's a good one too. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this thing goes.
What's up, Grant? Are we excited about week 12?
Oh, I'm excited about this tweet. Everything else is just irrelevant.
So if somebody happens to be, Grant, what are the odds? We have a new listener this week, right? Sure. Well, what do we do on the absolutely epic early week podcast? What are we even talking about here as far as this tweets?
So, I mean, at the end of the podcast, we kind of make a bet, and whoever, based on this week's slate with players, whoever loses it has to tweet something out of the other person's choosing, and they are not allowed to respond to it. And so last week's loser, who was that? Was that you?
It was not me, no. I think it was somebody else in this podcast.
Well, there's only one other person on the podcast, so I guess it was me.
The Andre Blatch truther.
So yeah, Mangone had to tweet out that he had unfortunately failed 6 times in No Nut November and had to wash his sheets twice.
Yeah, well, that was an old one. So what's am I tweeting the same thing again?
No, oh no, you're saying we got to properly prep you for that tweet. By the way, just so you all know, this is not the last podcast you listen to, of course, in DFS. It's the first podcast you listen to in DFS because we're looking. It's a first look podcast. We're looking at week 12 as far as what's going down. We're recording this on a Monday night, right after Monday Night Football. Or actually, I think Monday Night Football is still going down, if I'm not mistaken. I got basketball on in the background. Of course, we don't focus on the Thursday night game. We don't focus on the Sunday night game. Well, I shouldn't say that because Yahoo, our sponsor of the show, they do include the Sunday night game, which happens to be one Travis Mangone's Packers against San Francisco. Games we are throwing out and not talking about. I have a list in front of me. Yeah, Indianapolis and Houston, that's on Thursday night, not talking about it. And Monday night, Baltimore and the Rams, not talking about that one either. By the way, I'm fully tilted, guys. Maybe it's just me. Bad job for Red Zone, Mangone. 9 games on the early slate and 2 at 4 o'clock. What's going on here? We can't make this work any better?
I mean, you don't blame the Red Zone, man. This is the NFL's fault. Like, they do this on purpose because they want all eyes on the quote-unquote 4:25 primetime game. I mean, that's what they want.
Well, they're in cahoots. We understand Red Zone and NFL, they're partners.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Dean, the whole point is the NFL makes the schedule. It's not like the Red Zone makes the schedule. I know it's like the same thing, but it's like it's not like they're like, okay, we're catering everything to the Red Zone. Like the majority of the people sadly still watch the NFL by watching, the main CBS and Fox. Like we're actually in a minority watching the Red Zone.
We're in our bubble. I just feel bad for Chris Hansen, who's got to he's got to cut. There's no commercials on Red Zone, so he's got to kill time. The host, of course, on Red Zone.
You just called him Chris, dude. His name is Scott. Don't disrespect
Scott Hansen.
my man.
No, do you know who Chris Hansen is, Mango?
Yeah, I do know. Who is that?
Who is Chris Hansen? That's
yeah. I've heard the name, but I'm blanking right now.
Scott Hansen is E-Scott, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, but I think Chris Hansen was on To Catch a Predator.
Oh, okay. That was a show that was on years ago. Is that still on, Mango?
I don't know. I think he has a new one, like Chris Hansen, and I don't know. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, but it's Scott Hansen is the NFL Red Zone guy.
Nonetheless, I don't really know why are we even talking about this, Grant?
I don't know. I'd say we get to the tweet.
Grant, what is the setup here as far as the tweet that Mangone's got to fire out there? Because it's a little bit different this week because it's an audio tweet.
It's an audio and video tweet.
Audio and video. Yeah, and this is – so the tricky part, of course, this is a podcast, Grant. So we're going to like play it over your phone. And of course, Mangone's going to put this out there in the Twitter machine as well. And we'll add some words to it as well, give it some color. But Grant, is there anything left? Mangone, how do you feel right now? You're prepping. It's like, wait a second. It's an audio clip. It's a visual.
Is this an audio video clip of me?
Nope. You'll see in a second here. You ready for it?
Have you seen my nanny cam in your room?
No, I just creeped out. What's going on here? But
so
what are you thinking right now, Mangone?
I have no idea what's going on, so I'm just bracing myself because I didn't know this could be. And you guys threw a fastball to me. You said it wasn't. It wasn't a big deal.
Here's a curveball.
I see what you did there, but this is a football contest. Podcast. You ready for it? By the way, this video should I tell him who it includes, or he'll figure it out?
All right. He'll figure it out.
All right, everyone. Sorry for the bad audio quality. Again, I'm playing this from my cell phone, just because we wanted to be on there. You can check out the actual video at Travis Mangone. Is that your Twitter?
Yes, at Travis Mangone.
Get those followers up, man.
The tweet.
Feel free to retweet it.
Check out my Sharp Side article. I'll be tweeting out tomorrow.
No one cares about what you
first thing you notice about. You just want to just get this.
Only thing that matters is the video. So you ready, Trav?
Yeah, go for it.
Travis Mangone. Travis Mangone, why does that name sound so familiar? Maybe because your suspicious screen name is Bone Mangone 69? Very, very, very predator-like. Anyway, Chris Hansen here of Hansen versus Predators and To Catch a Predator. Listen, I have come across a NFL podcast called Absolutely Epic Early Week Podcast. And I understand, Travis, that you lost a fantasy football bet. Not good. Some of the folks around you think you're a chalk donkey. Well, there is some bright news here. Apparently you have successfully completed No Nut November. Or almost. November's still not over yet. Anyway, congratulations on that. Good luck with everything else. A lot more football left to come. And I will check out the podcast. So keep in touch, and remember, I'll be watching. All right, take care, you guys.
So that's actually Chris Hansen.
The problem is I don't really know this guy that well. I don't know much about him, so...
Hit the Google machine.
Yeah, Google, and it'll be interesting.
The audio wasn't spectacular. I hope you will just find the tweet. Trust us, it's funny, it's amusing, it's entertaining, and Mangone, did you hear what he said? He called you a chalk donkey.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what's going on, but I guess
he hosted the TV show To Catch a Predator.
Okay, but how did you get this audio? Do you know?
I know a guy.
Yeah, we know people. The internet has resources.
Yeah.
None of my Craigslist.
I don't know. I feel like this wasn't that good, but we'll see. Once I hear the audio, maybe I'm wrong. I didn't hear everything. But...
It wasn't spectacular as far as you couldn't hear it very well. It didn't really pop, but.
Do I have to tweet something to you? With it? What's the text I'm tweeting with? Or is it just the audio clip?
We'll figure out a text, but let's move on.
He also congratulated you in advance on No Nut November, so he's gonna hold you to that. Just so you know, you got 13 more days. So
we'll see how it goes.
So anyway, seamless segue. Give me the overview, Mangone, as far as the slate. Of course, Tampa Bay and Atlanta have the highest total on the board by 3.5 points or so, or something like that. Then next, of course, Seattle at Philly, 48.5. Carolina, New Orleans in the Dome at 47. The primetime 4:00 game, as Mangone alluded to, is Dallas, New England at 46. Oakland and the Jets, and there's a couple terrible games too, as far as the total, at least in that perspective. Denver and Buffalo. I think the lowest total we've seen the entire year, 37. It feels like the lowest.
Yeah, it's the lowest.
Mangone, what's your screenshot as far as a slate? I think the most important thing is, at least as of Monday night, there's no value, right? Where are the value plays?
Yeah, I told you this, Dean. We can get the value plays on Friday when the injury report comes out. We don't have them. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, are we playing Brian Hill again? Are we doing that again, especially against the Bucks? No, that's not going down. Yeah, there's some ugly games if you look at the schedule, right? I'll just start listing them. Denver, Buffalo. You want many guys in that game? Not really. You're down to play anyone from the Giants and Bears? Not really. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati? No. Miami, Cleveland, that's not the sexiest game in the world. I guess maybe the Cleveland side is kind of interesting, but none of these games are really that great. I think one thing that sticks out is loading up on that Seattle offense, especially Russell Wilson, the receivers, is going to be a great route to go. But, yeah, it's not the greatest slate, Lions, Redskins, Raiders, Jets. There's just some really, really ugly games on this slate.
Browns have a 27 total, so I'm intrigued. The tricky part with the Seattle guys is they're expensive as far as those receivers, and we live in the world of a salary cap, and as of right now, we don't have a ton of value. Grant, what's your screenshot as far as this slate?
I mean, it's not great. We've had running back value almost every single week for last month. And so we don't have this week, which I'm actually happy about because it's ruined me on a week-to-week basis because I just keep eating it and keep losing because of it. But I think there is some value at some wide receiver spots here. Like, I actually like it overall as a slate where you can get edges. It may not be the easiest cash game slate, but I think there is a lot of good spots here. I like it overall. I think one of the biggest spots where we can really target some guys is the Atlanta Tampa Bay. Like, are we buying into this Atlanta defense as being good? And even if we are, like, Atlanta's going to put up a lot of yards. Like, they're a pass first team and they are going against the best run defense in the league. They put up massive amounts of yards all season long. One of the best or one of the highest volume passing teams in NFL history so far this season. So, I mean, I'm all over Atlanta, and I think that some people are just going to automatically go, all right, I want a ton of Julio Jones. And I'm not sure that's necessarily the best possible spot.
I like that Atlanta defense, by the way. They are kind of expensive depending on where you're shopping. And, yeah, ever since they came back from the bye, back-to-back games in the Dome in New Orleans, they were just all over the place, just buzzing, like 7 sacks, something like that. They were crushing Brees, 6 sacks. Carolina, they crushed as well, too. Gave up a total of 12 points. And now they're going to face Jameis, who just loves giving the ball up to the other side. And to be fair,
I've heard from someone at RotoGrinders that interceptions are all just noise.
Well, I was just getting to that, and I was going to say, to be fair to Jameis, a couple of those interceptions last week were not his fault. So
what about over the last every game for 3 years?
Those I can't account for necessarily. Interceptions are just random. I'm told that that's true. Does that person have really sexy hair that you're talking about?
Nah, he kind of looks like the Clemson quarterback.
Well, then that's a yes.
Touché.
Also, Winston was limping last week too. So a wounded Winston who's not particularly athletic back there as is, and it's weird. But that Atlanta defense looks pretty appealing. I don't know what they did in the off week. Who knows what they were up to? But and Atlanta's known for their gentlemen's clubs. I feel like they weren't doing it. I don't know who knows what they're up to. The Mangone. Atlanta, good defense.
I mean, they're known for good chicken wings at gentlemen's clubs.
Wait, specifically is the.
No, I've heard like some of the best wings my friends have ever had have been in Atlanta gentlemen's clubs.
They were probably hammered though. They were just in a good mood. So like when you're in a good mood, anything's tasty.
No, they apparently have great wings. Like I think that's where lemon pepper wings started.
Mango, would you eat wings at a strip club, gentleman's club?
No, dude, I'm definitely out on that. No, hard pass. You'll see me at the diner getting something else. No, I'm out on that one.
Well, you're on Team Fridays, right? Is it Fridays? Or
oh yeah, of course, man. Yeah, TGI Fridays, man. That's the spot, man.
Atlanta's defense, are they good?
Is Atlanta's defense good? That is the question.
Yeah,
I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's just magically like the greatest defense of all time or anything. But yeah, I think one thing that they can do and they're good at is getting at the quarterback. I think that defensive line can cause problems. I think that's where the strength is. So if the offensive line can neutralize that, then there'll be success there on passing against that defense. But that defensive line, I think they're going to cause Jameis a little bit of fits there. So like I said, I think this game is one of the better games too. We're starting to get that time of year where the weather's starting to matter a ton, and this is in a dome, right? In Atlanta, fast track, higher total, so definitely a game that you're going to want to kind of load up on a little bit. But I obviously think Winston and Ryan are certainly good plays this week. My favorite quarterback is probably Russell Wilson. I get it, he's expensive, but Philadelphia's a pass funnel. I mean, it's just they struggle against it a ton. Obviously, they've gotten better since they've gotten a little bit healthier. But listen, Russell Wilson is the guy that'll make you look like a fool. So I expect Russell Wilson to make the Eagles look like a fool, and I think he's going to be obviously the top quarterback of the week.
We don't talk defenses very much, but Atlanta defense on Yahoo, the sponsor, $11. I'm in. $11?
Yeah, they were $10 last week.
Yeah, I think people are going to be all over that Atlanta defense as like the chalkier defense. Like, surprise, like 2 weeks ago, no one wanted to touch them. Even last week, they didn't really want to touch them, but they're going to be a chalky defense for sure this week.
Well, it's going to be like you make a decision, right? Because some people are going to be playing the Tampa side as well. Let me ask you this. Speaking of chalk donkeys, Carroll, the coach there for Seattle, and we had this whole conversation, Grant, a couple weeks ago. It's like, well, what is he going to do? Is he smart enough to realize that, like, you shouldn't run the ball against Tampa? You should pass the ball against Tampa. And Wilson ended up passing the ball 43 times, but that was because they were behind, like severely in the second half. So is there a lesson learned here, or does Carroll say, I'm just going to run the ball against Philly until we are down, then we're going to unleash Wilson, or do we pass the ball from the get-go when you should be doing that against Philadelphia?
Well, I mean, they do have the best wide receiver of all time on their team now, in Josh Gordon.
Oh.
No, he's the second best tight end on this team, probably the most athletic one. But like, it's an interesting thing because any given week, it doesn't matter if it's a pass funnel, a run funnel. Seattle's going to do largely the same thing. The interesting thing is they did start off as 3-point dogs. The spread's down to 1, I believe, and I think that Seattle will be favored soon enough here, which is interesting. This happened like 3 times, I think, to Seattle in the last 4 games where they've been opened as a decent underdog. They were an underdog versus Cleveland, and the line moved all the way from +2 to -2. So I think going off the Vegas line is not really the greatest idea in the world right now for this game. But, like, Wilson has the potential for a massive game here. We don't know exactly how this offense is going to go with Josh Gordon in there. Like, we don't have a big sample size. He should be more entrenched after the bye week, and he should be able to be more involved. And so now Russell Wilson has a very legitimate wide receiving core. And, like, is he the best option on the slate? Yes, because the slate is not very great for quarterbacks. I mean, we don't have Lamar Jackson on it. We don't have Mahomes on it. We don't have a lot of guys that are generally up there at the top that can get rushing yards. And so you look at the top running backs outside or quarterbacks and outside Josh Allen, none of them really have legs. So it's Wilson up there at the top that has the dual threat upside, and then it's Matt Ryan just going up against complete funnel defense. And so honestly, for quarterback, I don't really have any massive leanings outside of Wilson, and that's not a safe thing. If he's going to come in as massive chalk, then I think you can probably go against him. But last time I thought that was against Tampa Bay, and he was not chalky, and he did absolutely crush. So Russell Wilson is still probably the top option. I still need to wait on ownership of the rest of Seattle players to see if I play him. But outside of him, Ryan is probably my second favorite option. Surprise, surprise, he's the second highest price guy. But we get a little interesting once we get below 6K. Like, the rest of the 6K guys just don't really intrigue me. Baker Mayfield going up against Miami. They are a 10-point favorite, and it's either going to be a Baker game or it's going to be a Chubb game. And Miami's actually kept games a lot closer and actually won recently with teams. So I think that while everyone's going to go immediately to Chubb, that Baker may be the better play, which is disgusting to play. They are playing at home. He's been better at home. Like, everyone looks at their schedule throughout the entire season. Baker has been largely disappointing. They played against some tough opponents and he played on the road a lot. And now he's getting games at home. They're getting, like, he's a 10-point favorite here against this Miami team that won 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Then we get into the lower range. We have Wentz. If we can expect this game to be a shootout, going up against Seattle is not a bad option. We got Driscoll, who actually looked pretty decent last week. If Stafford's still out, which I think he is, and he's a 3.5-point favorite, so this game might be closer. Rudolph, not really a great fantasy quarterback, but he is going up against Cincinnati, who has the worst pass defense in the league. And then Nick Foles, not an easy matchup going against Tennessee. People probably watched the game last week and didn't think too much of him, but still a guy that can put up big outings even against the Tennessee team. So quarterback's not really a cut and dry pay up at the top like it has been in recent weeks. It's got some interesting parts here, and I think if you're not paying up for Russ, or if Russ is going to be chalky, paying in the 5K range is probably the better choice.
There's no chance I play Rudolph, especially if Juju's not playing. I'm crossing him off the list. Juju's currently highly questionable this week. Who knows what's going on in their backfield? I understand the matchup's good too. But Grant, I'm going to get you excited. Yahoo specific, your boy, Josh Allen. I know the matchup's not great. I know it's the lowest total on the board, but he's got legs and he's $24.
Oh gosh, that is a juicy price tag. I like that quite a bit. I will play a lot of Josh Allen over there.
Do we think Chase Daniel's a starting quarterback this week? Do we care, Mango?
I think didn't they already say Trubisky's probably not playing next week?
Why would he?
I mean, well, he's dealing with a hip. Who knows if that's actually what the case was? I actually think it was probably. I don't think they benched him, and that's why. I don't think they're gonna lie about that. But I'm not saying I want to play Chase Daniel, right? But Chase Daniel is sort of kind of in play because it's the Giants, and the Giants secondary is absolutely terrible. So I think like as a cheap option, you can consider him. All the guys you mentioned, I think, are fine. Another guy next to Baker that's sort of kind of interesting is Sam Darnold. We're not big fans of the Raiders secondary, so I think you can kind of get behind them a little bit there. They're at home, and on top of that, like it seems like they're kind of playing for Adam Gase. It sounds like the team is actually like rallying around him a little bit and actually believing in Adam Gase. So there you go. It seems like there's a vote of confidence there in him. But I'd rather just pay up for Russell Wilson. I think that's going to be the move that you want to kind of take. But there are some cheap guys I think that you have to consider at least a little bit.
Yeah, but I want to get Wilson too, Mangone, but I just don't know if I can afford him is the problem. And maybe these things kind of solve themselves as the week progresses. And of course, as of right now, like in my quote unquote optimal build, I just don't know if I would get that because, well, Mangone, we're going to talk about some running backs, and we like the guys at the top, and the mid tier kind of stinks. But let's just play in let's go in imagination land. Let's assume we have all the money in the world. Well, CMC is at the top once again, of course. Not the greatest matchup necessarily, but it's CMC. Who cares? And then you have Kamara and Chubb in both and nut matchups. Kamara at home versus Carolina, Chubb at home versus Miami. That feels like, 2 tutties and 100 on layaway. And then you have Barkley. Who knows? He's super cheap. Elliott in a bad matchup against New England. What are you thinking here as far as the top running backs?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like CMC, right? It seems easy. Plug in CMC, plug in Michael Thomas, right? You got the game stack too of the 2 best players. But now I'm out of money. But I think it's something you definitely have to consider in cash games. Like if you're not considering it, I think you're doing something wrong. You definitely have to look at it. I'm not as big into Kamara. I get it. I understand. He's better on DraftKings with more of a PPR site. But I just worry like they're not giving him like that full workload. I mean, he did get 23 touches last week, but there are times where they kind of back off him a little bit. So I don't know. I'm not as in on him. I think the Chubb thing, I totally get and understand. He's probably going to smash here in this spot. The one worry you can have, and I'm not worried in Kareem Hunt like taking his carries away, but I do worry about some of the touchdown equity getting taken away from Nick Chubb. But I think he's a phenomenal play. All 3 of those guys at the top, they're the best plays. Barkley, I'm not as in on him. I worry about him, and I think we should have actually worried about this a little bit more. Coming off that injury, I think that was something that we should have taken into account. I know he's a generational running back, and I don't know, maybe he's not able to just play at that ability right away. We should have kind of realized that, and I think that caused some issues there. I mean, Zeke not going to touch him. Jacobs not going to do that against the Jets' run defense. It's pretty good. So it seems like it's more of pay up for one of the top 3. Or try and find some value down low.
Grant?
I mean, yeah, I love the top 3. I have zero qualms with the top 3. McCaffrey is McCaffrey. Kamara going up against the worst run defense in the league in terms of DVOA right now. Chubb going up against a team where they're a 10-point favorite. And when Chubb actually gets fed, he crushes. Mangone, you didn't like Barkley against Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm just worried about that injury, man. I think he could actually be hurt, but I don't know.
I mean, he just got a week off.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And like I said, I don't want to be just taking the last performance and making me overthink it and stuff. Like I said, I think he's fine. But I prefer.
But when you run the ball 13 times for 1 carry, I know he's a generational talent, but that's a generational stat line.
I mean, but they were getting to him every single time behind the line of scrimmage. That was not his fault. And now he's going up against the Bears. He's a guy that gets a high volume of targets. He's missed 4 games.
Obviously, ownership matters, right, Grant? If ownership is going to be 5%, of course, in GPPs, you have to consider it, right? But I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the case. I wish he got more of a discount, 7-9. I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but then, because then I think it'd be more of a conversation. I think Chubb and Kamara are just better plays, and it's the $300 and $200 I don't think is enough for me to want to lean that way.
He's never been this cheap before, but the thing is, Mango, this is the thing that a lot of people don't think about, and I thought of this on my own a couple weeks ago. When you're rostering a running back, you're not just rostering the running back, you're also rostering their offensive line.
I've never heard that before, Dean. Did you come up with that?
Yeah. I mean, I had this epiphany 3 o'clock in the morning. It just kind of hit me. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to tweet that out. And then I forgot. I couldn't find my phone. Mangone, is this something you've considered before?
I hate you.
But Barkley's going up against a team I can't.
Dean, tell that to the people who keep playing Joe Mixon every week, okay? Please ask them.
Dude, Mixon smashed Jordan 40 carries when they lost 40. It was amazing. They just kept feeding him.
Yeah, Mixon.
So the Bears are giving up.
Mixon got his first touchdown because it was the family and friends game, Dean. Okay, that's the reason why.
The Bears are giving up the most targets to opposing running backs in the entire league. I don't care how bad of a matchup, what their implied total is, how bad their offensive line is. He's going to get dump offs all game long.
No,
Like,
you're
he
right,
is.
Grant. You're bringing up good points. Like I get it. Trust me. It's tough. Maybe as like the week goes on, I might change that tune. But and especially on like a site like DK, right? The problem with Nick Chubb on DraftKings is like he's like Marlon Mack. Like we don't get PPR points from him. So like, that's kind of one of the problems. I mean, that's why I like Kamara. You can maybe get more behind over Chubb on a site like DraftKings is because of that. And like a site like FanDuel or Yahoo, you want to be more on Chubb because again, like, the PPR is not as valuable.
Yeah, but I mean, also, like, we go a little bit further down. Leonard Fournette's going up against the Titans, who have allowed the fourth most targets to opposing running backs. He just got 7 last week. He has the highest target share of any running back outside of Le'Veon Bell and Christian McCaffrey, I believe. Like, he's heavily entrenched in this offense, in the passing game, in the running game. It's not an easy run matchup, which will get people off of him. But he's still a guy that's going to get a ton of carries and probably ends up with 7-8 receptions here. Like,
yeah, I'm curious, Grant. Are you the guy this week that's going to sell me that this is the week Leonard Fournette scores a touchdown? Like, this is it, right? Like, this is the week now? Are you that guy?
I mean, he's got Nick Foles in the offense. He's got a big D sitting behind the offensive line. So, I mean, that could potentially help. I'm not good. I don't know all the stats behind that.
You know, when you roster a running back, you're also rostering their quarterback and his appendage.
Yeah. It's just this is biology. This is biology, Mangone. You wouldn't understand. But Fournette, like, he's gonna get, if he gets 10 catches. If you're unaware, Trav, that's 10 points. Just math.
I get that. I'm aware. Just so you know, you got 7 catches last week, and he was pretty awful. I'm not saying he's a bad play. He's fine, but I'm not jumping out of my seat for Leonard Fournette this week. That's all. At least on a site like DK right now. I'm not going.
Who are you jumping on your seat for? Because find me some savings.
That's the thing. I'm not. There's not a lot to like. It's rough. Like
you don't need a seatbelt. You're not jumping anywhere.
In that range, if you're talking about like, would you rather have Jacobs, Fournette, Samuels, and Henry and Carson? Like, yeah, give me Fournette in that range, sure. But it's not like I love that range. It's not great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of working my way down here, Grant, and it's just gross. And I hate to have, like, no take, but, like, nothing really says, well, that's a good value, that's a good price. Everything's either market price or, like, hurricane price, as far as I can tell.
I think that Kareem Hunt's an interesting option if you decide not to play Chubb. If this is more of a passing game, like if Miami keeps it close, which is not even remotely out of the realm of possibilities, Miami can get up by 2 touchdowns early on. They've done it before against multiple teams recently. They are playing better. Like, this is football. Anything can happen. I'm guessing the 10.5 point spread will probably actually drop a little bit. But there's a lot of different ways this game goes, in which case Kareem Hunt ends up with a big game at 5,600. Like,
they've been playing them together for what it's worth, Grant.
Yeah, I know they've put him out into the slot. Like, but if they're up by a decent amount, they're probably not going to go with Kareem Hunt much. It's probably going to be Chubb mostly in the offense because they're keeping him in there for passing game work to get him involved that way a lot. So if the game's out of hand, he probably gets less of a snap count. He's probably in there very little and doesn't get a whole lot of work in the passing game later on in the game. So if this game stays close or if Miami is ahead, then there's a lot of different game stacks, in which case you can take Baker Mayfield as one of the cheaper quarterbacks. You can take Kareem Hunt instead of Chubb, which everyone's going to be on Chubb because everyone assumes that this game's going to be a blowout, which is not the case with how Miami's played recently. It's not guaranteed to be a blowout.
Who do you run it back with on the other side?
Parker, Hearns, anyone. You're looking for value on this slate, and you have value at Miami wide receivers. Hearns, I can't remember, Albert Wilson and Devontae Parker, like, all could potentially be getting a lot of targets thrown their way, and they can put up points. Like, even Gesicki's not the worst idea in the world. So Kareem Hunt and, like, game scripting that out is an interesting way to do it. I know I'm on Miami most weeks, and occasionally it pays off, occasionally it doesn't. But I'm just saying that, like, if we're looking for value, if we want to play CMC and Kamara in the lineup, they're throwing Kareem Hunt in that lineup too, running it back with some Miami guys, throwing Baker in there is a way that we can pay up for these top-tier running backs. I
actually agree with you as far as Hearns. Like, he's, they paid him. They like Hearns for some reason. They paid him for a couple years. Recently, 2 weeks ago, he had 89% of the snaps. Last week, he had 87% of the snaps. And his price, he's the one guy, like, he hasn't moved. He's 3.3K on DK. 6 targets with 4 catches for 53 yards. It's not spectacular, but, he should. he's probably going to see like 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 targets. And I don't know, Mangone. Again, I live in the world of the salary cap, and he's somebody that I'm looking at right now that I maybe hold my nose when I click that button. Again, not a rousing endorsement, but it's just like, hey, you're cheap and you make everything else work, so maybe I'll play.
Oh, Alan Hearns?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, we jumped from running back to Alan Hearns like really fast. That was where I got.
What just happened?
That was where I was confused. I was like, normally we start talking about like Michael Thomas, all these other guys, so we just teleported to him. But I get it because we're talking about value, right?
Yeah.
And there's not a lot. Like I was kind of looking at some running back value and seeing like, hey, like what do we have here?
What do you have for me? Sell me.
I got one for you. Are you ready?
Please tell me it's not the person I think.
It's not Brian Hill, is it?
No,
Is it Ballage?
It's not Brian Hill, but there's this defense in the league, right? There's one defense that is really, really bad. They're not good against the run. They struggle against the run. And it's the Washington Redskins with Geis Baby, man. He got 13.9 last week, Dean.
Well, he also got a nonsense touchdown in the last second of the game, if you want to count fantasy. I know they all count, but
yeah, no, you're right. But I mean, hey, listen, you're trying to give me something. Like
he's right. They're committed to the run. They are going to run the ball for some reason. They want to do that every single game, probably in order to just entirely suck.
But here's the thing. A report came out last week. And they said, we know that we can't run the ball in the Jets because the Jets are not good at that. So we are going to pass more with Dwayne Haskins. Haskins went out there and threw 35 times. Also, that happened because they were losing as well. But they're going to try and establish a run again. You know how coaches are, right? When they do something that's against the grain that they don't want to do, and then they lose, they're like, oh, man, we're never doing that again. Like, this man Callahan is going to establish the run, man. Geis is going to get some carries. So, again, I'm not saying Geis is, like, the greatest value of all time, but this is the player pool you've given me, Dean, and I don't got much else to talk about.
Don't blame this. Don't put this on me. This is the NFL schedule. The schedule makers you love so much that are a team with red zone. You don't want to.
I never said I love them, Dean, but you're asking for the logic of why they're doing that. If Dallas Cowboys and Patriots are on at 425, they're not going to give us 5 games. They're just not. You're lucky you got 4. You're lucky.
And by the way, I need some beat writers here because Geis played, and this is his first game back. He played 29% of the snaps. Adrian Peterson played 25%. Wendell Smallwood played 46%. And a person named Michael Burton played 19% of the snaps for running backs for Washington this week. So I got to hear that, like, they're going to unleash Geis. And, like, why would they? Because
that has to come through, too. And, I mean, maybe Adrian Peterson gets I don't know, that's not me. That's a Grant play. So, Grant, I don't know.
Don't play Adrian. No, they're done with Adrian Peterson, I think. Maybe not. Who knows?
I did see some report. I forget. It was like they were going to, like, mix in Peterson and Geis. It was, like, the conversation.
And 2 more guys.
They're not going to keep Peterson in if they're down a ton. Surprised guys didn't get more work, but bringing in Smallwood and Burton as guys that can catch the ball, it makes sense.
I just did a quick Twitter search, and one guy said Callahan grinned at the possibility of the Redskins employing both Geis and Peterson in the backfield at the same time. It would provide the defense with a unique wrinkle. Oh gosh,
that's like Kareem Hunt and Chubb base. That's their answer to it, essentially, right?
Yeah, this is the point of the podcast where we move the wide receiver.
They're going to run the wing tee in Washington.
Let me mention 2 other guys. Ronald Jones is still cheap, and maybe this Atlanta defense isn't as good as they have been in the last few weeks. He's 4,800, and Ballage. I hate it, but this is not a week like last week. This is a week where we're starved for value. He's getting passing game work, which is ridiculous. Laird did get some passing game work and did get some work, but that was at the end of the game when they were down, and I think that Fitzpatrick, threw him 4 straight times, so I'm not entirely buying into that. So, like, Ballage, it's gross. I expect this game to be closer than it is, but he's a guy that potentially could be in for a serviceable game.
Is there any chance Scarborough is a thing?
I don't know.
Bo Scarborough?
Yes, I know. I don't understand it, but
he's fresh.
Yeah, I mean, he's fresh. It's not like they have – like they've shown that they hate Ty Johnson, I think. They've shown that they hate pretty much everyone. They're not giving McKissick a big workload.
I think this is the point in the podcast where we pray we get something on Friday. Like, throughout the week, we pray we get something. Like, I would
rather not get something
on Friday.
Every single time we get something, it ruins me. So I would rather have chalk not to play.
Yeah, it's funny. We're saying last week was so like all the cheap chalk plays. They all stunk. The cheap chalk plays,
and I played all of them, which is, I mean, I still won money somehow, but Like in GPPs, I'm like, I'm going to play these chalk guys, and I just got destroyed.
Oh, yeah, by the way, if you're asking why the Falcons defense changed, Scott Barrett just sent a tweet out, and the first 10 games was Dan Quinn calling the plays. And since that, it's been Dan Quinn surrendering the play calls. He's crushed. So, I think
sense.
that there's a reason behind it too, right? There's a different play caller back then.
Wide receivers, Michael Thomas can't guard Mike against Carolina, obviously. Mount St. Julio, is he going to finally erupt this week versus Tampa? You would think. I guess he erupted kind of to some degree, like week 2 or week 3 or something like that. He's another guy that he just can't find the box. I feel like he hasn't scored a touchdown in like, I don't know, 2 months or something like that. It's been a while.
Oh, it's better than the other year when he only had 2 all year.
Well, he gets them in bunches, I suppose.
It's normally against Tampa Bay, too. Actually, yeah, I just remember this. Yeah, against Tampa Bay, I think that there was a 2-year period where he had more against Tampa Bay than he had against all other teams combined.
It's week 12, but they haven't played yet. Interesting. Unless I'm missing it. Have they not played this year? I feel like they haven't.
I don't think they have either.
Lockett's really expensive, but he's a great play in tournaments against Philadelphia. I can't see making it in cash games. The Edmonds and Godwin thing, I guess, you're supposed to play one. One's a lock. Well, that didn't really work last week because they had to get Cameron Brate 97 touches.
So now you got to play one of Cameron Brate, Mike Evans, or Julio, or no.
You're chasing the Cameron Brate 14 targets. That's a wild one that I don't really have a hot take on it outside of the fact that I'll take the under on 14.
I mean, apparently Bruce Arians does love throwing to his tight ends, just as long as they're not O.J. Howard or anyone else in his history.
And Beckham is another guy. He's supposedly due to, quote unquote due. He's another guy who hasn't done anything since week 2. He's another guy who hasn't scored a touchdown since week 2.
He's a buy low air yards model guy, along with Mike Williams. But who knows?
So what does that mean? Does that mean we like Beckham this week there, Mangone?
I mean, it depends where you get the price. Yahoo pricing, I think it's really intriguing and enticing. 7K on DraftKings, not as in love with it. I think the Yahoo pricing is a little better over there. But talking about Grant's stat with Julio Jones, and I think a good question last week, one of my questions was Michael Thomas or Julio Jones. Obviously, it was a 2v2, right? It wasn't just straight up because it'd be Michael Thomas. But I ended up siding with Julio Jones, and the combo was a 1 point difference, the 2v2. But Julio Jones is only 1.3K. Off of Michael Thomas. So that's going to be a debate to have. And listen, Julio Jones, the stats are really good. I pulled them up on StatMuse here. In 14 games played, how many DraftKings points do you guys think Julio Jones averages against the Bucs?
Wait, you're talking about 7 years ago against the Bucs that you're pulling up?
Well, his entire career. I'm just saying.
You can't be serious.
Okay, Dean, over the last 4 years, how many touchdowns per game is he averaging?
We know that secondary is terrible. You don't have to tell me, 7 years ago
I'm just pulling the whole sample of data. I'm just up to Dean. Just answer the question. My goodness.
How many DK? He's averaged 31 DK points.
27.
Oh, great. You are the winner. 26.07. So
he went over. We both went over. We both lose.
No, Dean, this isn't the Price is Right.
No,
you should have said 1.
This is my show, Dean, and you lose. You're the loser here. So there you go.
Guys, this is my show.
Tweets are consequences.
And Dean does lose, so I'm right there with you.
Thank you, Grant. So, 11 receiving touchdowns for Leo Jones, too. So, but like I said.
What did he do in 2013?
Dean, but that's not the only thing, right? There's other things that are play factor in it. There's no Austin Hooper, right? That's obviously good. The Bucs are one of the best funnels in the league. There's no Mohamed Sanu now, too. That's really important as well. There's a lot of things that are going in Julio's favor.
Turf, weather.
Yeah, in the dome. Thank you. Now you're contributing good things to this podcast. Instead, you're trying to bring others down, Dean.
You're also investing in that offensive line, which I – go ahead.
The offensive line that is allowing Matt Ryan to put up – that allowed Matt Schaub to put up 460 yards.
While being down by 47 points.
Thank you, Grant. But anyways, Julio Jones, really good play. I think at 8K, he might be my favorite receiver actually in that entire range. So, I like him. Tyler Lockett, apparently he is going to play. Pete Carroll says he's going to see how the week goes. So, again, check out it on Friday. But it sounds like they're going to try and do everything they can. If Tyler Lockett doesn't play, though, Grant, who would be the Seattle receiver that they newly acquired that's one of the best receivers in the league? Who would that guy be?
I believe that he is Josh Gordon, which led the league in yards 1 year while only playing 14 games and is 4,200. And Booger McFarland loves him, which kind of scares me.
Rousing endorsement.
Oh man, yeah. Once Booger's on him, we got to back off because Booger was on Phillip Rivers, and what did Phillip Rivers do? Game losing interception, but he's been doing that all of his career. So,
was there any Boogerisms tonight? Did you have the Johnny
Devontae Adams tweeted out, "Games in this league are lost more than they are won." Booger McFarland, and based on math, that's not true.
So even the players are mocking him. Is that what's happening?
Y'all, Stephon Diggs respond with, "They may as well just let me commentate."
By the way, Grant, last week, Josh Gordon, 2 weeks ago, I guess they were off in the 11th, week 11, unless I'm missing something here as far as my data. Josh Gordon, his debut was Seattle. He only played in, 0.37. That's 37% of the snaps. And he's probably blocking half the time anyway.
Yeah, and it's not like they've had a bye week since then to incorporate into the offense. It's not like he got picked up 3 days before or a week, 10 days before this game. He's had more time to get involved in the offense.
You mean?
Yeah, but listen, Josh Gordon, if Lockett's out, Josh Gordon's going to be a top value on the entire slate. He's going to be that type of play. That's
you just said Lockett's going to play.
I said if he doesn't, there is a
or if he is greatly hindered.
That's very insightful. Yes. Really? You think Lockett's?
Dean, I don't know if you know this is the first podcast you listen to. It's not the last.
Yeah,
we'll know
exactly.
more.
And obviously, I threw. Did you not see me throw the alley oop to Grant on Josh Gordon? It's like his guy. It's in Seattle. It was just me throwing an alley oop to my buddy. Again, Dean, you're bringing people down on this podcast.
I spotted it though. I'm a tumbled that thing.
Yeah, and you got called for goaltending, you jerk. So no.
Yeah, it was in the rim. You put your hand up through the net.
Give you an updated reference.
I'd like to see you dunk, Dean. I would.
Yeah. Okay. We can arrange that.
But we should probably talk about more wide receivers. Like DJ Chark with Foles, 14 targets. I mean, it's not a great spot. But he's 6.4K. Has a great quarterback at the helm, and is a guy that likes to get the ball out quickly. Chark could be in for a big game. Allen Robinson has a better quarterback going up against one of the worst secondaries in the league. It's still not a great quarterback, but it's Allen Robinson, who's I think has the third highest target share of any wide receiver in any offense. We got McLaurin, who they're only a 3-point dog, which is neato, although Haskins is terrible. I already mentioned all the Miami wide receivers, but
who's your favorite? You can't just say all the Miami receivers.
I mean, I already said Allen Hurns, followed by Devontae Parker, followed by Albert Wilson. They're all in play. They can all they all had 6+ targets last week. So I'm not going to be surprised if they have a lot of them this week. Gabriel had 14 targets last week, which, knowing Taylor Gabriel, will probably end up just doing nothing this week.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, just because it happened last week, I'm not certain that's going to happen this week as far as Gabriel. But that's a lot of targets. But yeah,
one of my favorite plays, Russell Gage. I think he got a touchdown called back, if I remember correctly, this week. It's 3,900.
It wasn't called back. It was he dropped it. So that was
whatever.
He fell. He dropped the ball. It wasn't called back because of someone offsides on the opposite side of the field. Russell Gage dropped it. So let's give him that credit.
Didn't McLovin also lose a couple big plays? I feel like he lost a couple big plays. And
he lost a bomb from Haskins because I think it was a hold, but I can't remember exactly what the reason was.
You were saying about Gage.
I don't know. Russell Gage is terrible, but I don't know.
He's 3,900 against the Bucks.
Grant was saying about Gage, but okay, you can pick up his thought if you want.
No, listen. Since there's no value, I know I will be considering Russell Gage. So sadly, that'll be a conversation I will be having, but I hope I don't have to have that conversation.
I think we have to. I mean, as of right now, obviously, we could just kind of chill and wait and see some news breaking up. But
we also we talk about pass funnels. Oakland, who are they playing?
The goddamn Jets.
Yeah, that is correct.
Was that rhetorical? I was waiting. There's an awkward pause there.
We got Demaryius Thomas sitting there at 3,800. Who's just
no.
We got Robbie Anderson at 4,800. We got I can't remember Jamison Crowder. I can't even find his price tag. It's 6,200. I'm probably not doing that.
It's too high.
That one's too high. That one's definitely too high. I'd rather go with
high.
Yeah, but I think the Jets wide receiver. We're looking for value on this slate, and
how about the
we can't just lock in. We can't just lock in Dean's favorite player, Hump Dog, at 3,900.
Well, here, what about Dede? Is Dede actually in play and in the conversation? Even in the same range, Hunter Renfrow, he's in play because the Jets, they're a pass funnel too. Renfrow, here's his game log with the targets. Targets 4, 7, 5, 6. And then he's got 18.8, 17.4, 8.2, and 11.6, and 2 touchdowns in that span. I mean, is it a Hunter Renfrow season?
No, it's never Hunter. It was Hunter Renfrow season when he played for Clemson and he won a national title, but not since then or before that or after. Maybe in high school it was too. But
I think it'll be a Hunter Renfrow season during tax season because that's his next job.
Listen, I don't know, man. Maybe also bait me into some Hunter Renfrow here, just so I can see Dean take it now.
Bait you. We haven't said a single good thing about it, and you're the one baiting yourself.
It's true, I am, but I don't mind him. Like I said, there's not a lot of value here. Is Danny Amendola, like, he was a guy that was kind of interesting. He had 5, 8, 5, 8, 11 targets in the last 5 games.
Trav, you can read.
Hump Dog, Renfrow, Amendola. Who's next?
Listen, you're asking for plays. We started with Russell Gage too, so don't leave him out of this. He's pretty awful as well. So listen, there's just not a lot to like here. That's the problem. And a lot of these 6K guys, like, they're good players, right? Like Ridley's good. You know, all these guys in the 6K range, DK Metcalf, they're all good players, but they just feel a tad overpriced.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Sutton's a real talent, but I just hate this price against Buffalo. And he's an F quarterback. Like, he can't throw the ball to himself. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Do we like anything in this Dallas New England game? Or just gonna like watch it? Or is it just more just to watch the game, or do we like actually like fantasy players in it?
I think Gallup's like at 5,900. We've seen him put up massive games. So, like, are they going to try and shut down Cooper? Are they going to try and shut down Zeke? I don't think they're going to try and shut down Gallup. And Gallup's seen 10 targets 3 of the last 7 games. Dak's putting up massive passing yard numbers. I know New England's a good defense, but Gallup at 5,900, I mean, realistically, everyone in this range, you don't find more upside than Gallup. Like, there's not many guys on the entire slate that have more upside than Gallup outside of the guys in the 8K range.
Is that a thing, by the way? Do people just say that and it's just kind of lazy and we all kind of just agree and nod our heads as far as, well, Belichick, he always locks down your best option. We always say that, but has that been quantified? Is that true?
I mean, I could run the numbers, but I'm just going to.
What does that mean? What did Belichick do against Julio Jones in 2013?
I mean, does it always work? No, but is he that way he tries to do? Yes. I mean, you think someone before this would have probably said something about, like, no, you guys are dumb. No, he generally does that.
And I like that he's like this great genius. It's like, I have an idea. I'm going to stop their best player. It's revolutionary.
Well, it's being able to scheme a defense in a way that is perfect for the matchup without sacrificing too much to other areas.
Yeah, I mean, it also helps to have like a nut secondary. Like all the secondary guys are just crushing as far as PFF rankings as well. So,
Dean, I know you're like a certified like tank GM. Would you like to grab a clipboard and coach up against Bill Belichick this Sunday? Is that something you'd like to try?
No, I have no shot.
All right, stop talking crap about Bill Belichick. I mean, my goodness.
I think you think too lowly of yourself. I think you got a shot.
I wasn't talking crap about Bill Belichick. It's just weird the way people say, like, again, he's great. I'm not knocking him at all. Like, you're listening poorly. Listen better, Mangone. I don't know how is your interpretation.
I don't know. It doesn't seem that. It seems like you're trying to bring down Bill Belichick again.
I'm not one of these like keyboard warriors on Twitter. I could coach this team better than whatever. And like, you don't even know what a go route is. Anything else as far as receivers?
Is it where they go?
Yeah, sure. A 9 route.
Is that where they go 9?
Yes. They go straight. Just run straight. We don't like a lot of things. That's what I'm hearing. Do we like stuff?
I mean, Ridley going up against Tampa. Ridley and Gage, like, everyone's going to go on Julio. Ridley should keep crushing. Robinson, I already mentioned him. OBJ, like, going up against Miami.
Yeah.
7K. Like, I know he's destroyed our soul, but again, a lot of that has been bad matchups. He's still a great wide receiver. Mike Evans, like, against Atlanta, if we're not sure about the defense, that's a little bit tough. I mean, outside, like, we kind of mentioned all the guys I like are in the lower range, and then DJ Chark, Ridley, A-Rob at the 6K range, and then it's, all right, anyone else he's probably just paying over 7K for.
I just want to point this out. Sponsor Yahoo. I'm sure Mangone's going to play. Hunter Renfrow is $18 on Yahoo.
Oh gosh,
Michael Gallup is 17.
Man, that's terrible.
That's an absurd, just an insane. It's $20 for Edelman. It's 21 for Charles.
I like Edelman's price over there.
Yeah, I like that price too.
Edelman's a great price over there. Definitely need to consider him. I mean, he's a phenomenal option.
Hunter Renfrow imagine playing Hunter Renfrow at $18 on Yahoo.
I'm gonna do it just to spite you in their quarter contest.
Do you hate money or the quarter?
I hate my quarter. I'll throw in the free roll.
It's electronic money. You don't have to actually. It's not.
Are we running 150 entry free roll? Because if so, I might just lock in Hunter Henry to spite you.
Welcome to last week. That's not happening again. But yeah. I'm just looking at that price, and it's hilarious to me. He's $18. That's insane. Is there anything else as far as receivers? We kind of mucked through it. Mangone?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't mention the Panthers receivers. Is Lattimore going to be out? Is that going to be intriguing? Do we trust Kyle Allen in that dome?
Oh, can we trust Kyle Allen? It's just period.
Well, again,
I can't trust him on the moon. Can't trust him anywhere.
I was so high on him at the beginning of the week, and then everyone else was. I'm like, all right, maybe I should do this. Still played a bunch of Moore and Samuel, which had, but
I one thing I did well last week is I played either Driscoll or L-Jax pretty much like in 80 or 90% of my lineup. So.
It's always a pissing contest with you.
Well, I'm saying because I had a poor week actually. Well, that's not actually true because FanDuel I about broke even. Nobody cared.
Automatic. Were your screens green, Dean?
Well, some screens were and some weren't. It depends on the site, I suppose. But Mangone, this is DFS. This is Daily Fantasy Sports. We don't care about what happened last week or next week. We care about this week and this week only. So who cares what I did last week?
Fair enough, man.
That was your opportunity to steal my line back at me, but you didn't want to take it. I gave it to you. I handed it off.
Let's move on to tight end.
That was an alley-oop.
And botched it. I didn't want it. I grabbed it and passed it to Graham, trying to pad my assist stats. I want that triple-double.
And Grant immediately turned it over. Grant, tight ends, what are we doing here?
I mean, there's Waller against the pass funnel has actually been really good versus tight ends. So that's interesting. Hooper's still out, right?
I believe.
He's out 3 weeks, they said.
Most likely.
Yeah. More than likely, yeah.
So
Kittle might be back for the record. He might be, maybe.
Yeah, well, they said he might. He looked like he might be back at the beginning last week, and then 3 days later, they're like, "All right, nope, never mind."
Why does that matter? He's not.
Yeah, he's not on the slate.
Not on the slate, Dean.
He's on the Yahoo. Who sponsors the podcast? I mentioned it 3 times already. You guys know who sponsors the podcast?
Yeah, but he's going against the Green Bay Packers.
Now you're wait to move the goalpost. You just moved the goalpost, Mangone. You were wrong. Take your L. He is on the Yahoo slate.
Yeah, you idiot, Mangone. But Noah Fant got 10 targets last week, and I do not want to play him. Cameron Brate got 14 targets last week.
Yeah,
I really don't want to play him. I'd rather play him than Noah Fant, though.
Ryan Griffin, you excited about him? You want to play last week's stats?
Well, I'm just he didn't get nearly as much volume. But what about Graham for Atlanta? Tampa Bay is terrible versus the tight end. They give up huge amounts of targets to opposing tight ends. Is he going to be the main guy for the foreseeable future still?
Yeah, I wanted to see snap count can be deceiving as far as tight ends, and he had 52% of the snaps last week for what it's worth. Carey was in the Oakland side, but Luke Stocker also got some run too, and they ran some 2 tight end sets. But who blocks and who runs routes? Those numbers can be deceiving because I want to see actually routes run for Graham, and I don't have that in front of me, unfortunately. Hey, look, this is the first podcast you listen to. The later one you listen to later in the week, you get that kind of data. But at least this is worth looking into. Mangone, are you into Jaden Graham, we live in the world of a salary cap?
I mean, the only argument for him is based on the way the week is going, at least for cash games for me, of course, I'd love to get Waller, but I don't know if I can afford Waller based on me, needing to play guys at other positions. I think a guy like Dallas Goedert, I think he's going to be really in play.
Yeah.
If they're going to be running a lot of 2 tight end sets at that price, again, I wish it was 3.2K, but still at 3.7, that's not bad at all. So I don't mind that. But there's not a lot else to really like for cheap tight ends. I don't know. You got anything, Grant? Because maybe Foster.
It's a hot potato, man. Nobody wants it.
Foster Moreau, no, he's terrible. I'm trying to think, trying to find that 2.5K guy that could stick out of nowhere. But
Goddard, super cheap. We got Goddard.
Yeah,
super cheap. We don't have Goddard is a fantastic play. Brate. I don't actually think it really is chasing too much. Like, Brait has been a guy that has been a very good tight end in the past. They've given up entirely on Howard. Like, they're willing to incorporate him on the passing game. This is going to be a high-scoring game in all likelihood, because even against good defenses, Tampa Bay will still put up massive points because they're going to drive down the field half the time, and then Winston's going to throw a pick six the other half. So, like, it's just they're in high-scoring games all the time because Winston always turns over the ball, but they always put up massive yards. We saw it all last year. We've seen it all this year. Like, it's going to happen even if up against potentially the greatest defense ever if the last 2 weeks hold true, but likely not. Likely somewhere in between. Outside of them, like, there's really no great tight end spots. Like,
I think good tight end plays like stop at Brait and Goddard. Like, that's where you're just like start getting super uncomfortable. Like the guys above, like all in play, all interesting. Waller's probably the best. It's either him or Ertz because Seattle's definitely a good spot to target too. But man, like once you get below that, like it is getting really, really ugly.
Brait, for what it's worth, was on the field for 75% of the snaps, and Howard was in the field for 25% of the snaps. So, again, not really sure as far as routes run, but he ran at least 14 routes because he had 14 targets.
Well, did he run 14 routes, or did he just randomly turn around like 7 times and the ball was in his hand?
Well, that would be like illegal touching. Yeah. Well, depending on where – well, actually not necessarily because he's tight end. But, I thought he was an offensive lineman. Different rules. I was going to bust out my officiating whistle for you. I almost will, actually, but never mind. I'll take the L on that one. Grant, how about Hollister? Is he just too expensive for you?
I don't want to pay that price tag. It's an all right matchup. It's not great. Like, there's not – like, the teams I generally like to target – like, TJ Hawkinson versus Washington, like – they're 3.5-point favorites. It should be a close game. It's not going to be terribly high scoring. And Hawkinson has, like, ever since week 1, I think I've been chasing him way, way too often.
First impressions can be very deceiving.
Yes, they can, especially when they're against Arizona.
Is that a thing? Tight end? I've heard. Is that tight ends against Arizona? Is that something people talk about?
Yeah, I've heard of it. But
Arizona on bye week. Who's the tight end against Arizona this week? Is there anyone we can roster?
I mean,
we just play nobody. Is that and just take the free touchdown and move on?
I think you just play a 2.5K guy and just take your 0. That's what we do without Arizona on the slate. CJ Uzoma got 5 targets last week.
Oh no!
I'm not like I'm searching. I'm trying to find like Pittsburgh. We could play Eifert. Like,
you mentioned Pittsburgh actually. You don't really want any part of that offense. But if what's his name, Juju might be out, and we don't know the running back might be out. I'm blanking for some reason. Connor might be out. Like, do we consider McDaniel? Is that McDonald?
Yeah, I think
he's 3.5K on DK. How about that?
Yeah, 7 weeks of 7. I mean, 3 weeks of 7.
7.
Yeah, 7.
My guy.
It's all you, Dean. So,
33 yards, 11 yards, and 30 yards.
That's the guy. We just found our favorite play in the slate, I think.
I mean, the problem is Cincinnati's decent versus the tight end. It's going to be a running game script. Like,
I'll give you
poke holes in everything on any of these tight ends.
I'll give you 2 more gross tight ends.
Except for Graham.
I'll give you 2 more gross tight ends, Lays. The Dallas Cowboys are really bad against tight ends, so Ben Watson, he's got 4, 5, 1, 5 targets. Like, ever since he's kind of been instated there, he's been okay. So there you go. Dallas is really
I'd rather roster, just for the record, I'd rather roster Randy Watson than Ben Watson, but continue.
I mean, any interest in Dawson Knox, against Denver? I don't know.
Knocks it off.
I am the one who knocks. I'm the one who fade knocks. We've mentioned too many terrible tight ends. I think we got to move on, right, boys?
Yeah, man. This is not.
Wait, I might.
We're just saying names now. That's all we're doing.
I got nothing.
This guy will be wearing a uniform. Potentially, balls will be thrown his way.
There's a dude named
footballs.
J.P. Holtz. How about him?
That's a person?
Yeah.
Okay. How much is he?
2.5.
Too much. He's got 2 passes the entire year, Mangone. What are you doing?
Guys, what about Ricky Seals-Jones?
We're just naming terrible tight ends at this point.
Is this a tight end podcast? What just happened?
I mean,
Why are we doing this?
Well, Ricky Seals-Jones was a guy that we were playing occasionally. And
We were?
I played him against Seattle. He got 13 points there. Like,
Man, let's listen. This was fun. These naming terrible tight ends, and we're not playing any of them that we pretty much mentioned. But let's move on to.
I'd rather roster Andre Blatch to be perfectly. I don't know if he's available in the player pool, but I think he's going to get as many points as half the guys you just ran off.
Indeed, this is the part where you say, "Well, this is the nonsense portion of the podcast that we're at."
I feel like the entire episode has been nonsense. We had a good 30 minutes or so. We're just pumping out good stuff, I think. But
Listen, I do have a question. So next week's the Thanksgiving slate. Are we going to be like a prime podcast? Are we going to have to really deliver all that Thanksgiving stuff? And are we only going to talk Thanksgiving? What happens with that?
I don't know. I'm going to counter your question with another question, Mangone. You ready for it?
Sure.
In 2 weeks, I'm going to be off. In 2 Mondays. I think it's 2 Mondays. I'm going to be at a certain 3 Mondays. Whatever it is. Maybe 3 weeks down the road. I'm going to be at a certain DFSer's wedding. You guys, do you need a co-host? Do you need a third person?
Yeah, this is what I say we do. Let's leave it up to the people. Put in the comment section. I don't know if we have a question this week, but you can put in the comment section the person you want and why you want them.
Well, the problem is, here's my problem: is they can't be too good because I don't want to get Wally Pipped. Although I hate that reference because that's 90 years old and we should update it. I don't want to get Drew Bledsoe's because if they're too good, then all of a sudden I'm gone, right? And some people might like that, but I don't want to get kicked off the podcast.
I'm the only one here with tenure, so.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
All right, well, listen, I feel like this is Grant's podcast. He has to make these decisions, but I actually do have a question. Are we doing are we just doing the Thanksgiving slate only? The people got to know what they're tuning into.
We'll figure it out next week.
Yeah.
So.
Happy Thanksgiving in advance.
I guess I love the Thanksgiving slate more than you guys. I get so excited for that slate. So I guess.
Really? You're excited to watch Mitch Trubisky or Chase Daniel? Oh, wait, no, it's not the Bears. Wait, is it the Bears? It's always
the Lions.
It's always the Lions and the Cowboys.
They're actually weird games this year. They're not like the usual suspects. I'm going to pull it up now.
We hate the slate so much we jumped ahead to the next
It's
slate.
Bears, Lions, Bills, Cowboys, Saints, Falcons.
Ooh, that's not Bills and
say it again. It's Bills,
Bears?
Bills, Cowboys, right?
Bears, Lions, Bills, Cowboys, Saints, Falcons. Guys, this is the nonsense portion of the slate. If you don't want to hear nonsense,
this part right here specifically, completely not nonsense. The first 55 minutes.
Yeah.
Are we playing our game?
Yeah, let's play our game. Mangone, you lost last week. You start us off with a position.
All right, man. Listen, there's a position where it's ugly, and there's a guy that's really good at the position, and the rest is not the greatest. So give me Russell Wilson.
Oh, man.
And I got second, I think, so.
Oh.
Dean, it's going to be nasty.
This is not going to be.
That's why I did it. I picked that position because I knew I would have a good guy.
I'm going to pick Michael Thomas.
Oh,
I like that move.
You do?
I just think he's not taking a quarterback yet. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was a bad move.
No, it's not.
I have to pick I have to establish a new position.
No, he decided he's going to establish a new position.
You dictated. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, that's what I like. Grant, I like what he did there.
Yeah, because who else do we like? No one.
Ooh. Now I got to pick a receiver and a quarterback, correct?
Yeah.
Do we like anybody's price at receiver? I don't remember. Can we rewind the podcast? Hunter Renfrow? No, I don't know. I'm not taking Hunter. I'll leave that one for me.
Remember, if you take too long, then we skip over you.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you Josh Gordon. Don't worry. You're fine.
I already picked Thomas.
Oh. Well, Mangone can't take Renfrow and Gordon. So I think it's Mount St. Julio. I think we're taking Mount St. Julio.
All right, who are you going with that QB?
Yeah.
I'm so tilted you took him, by the way. I was hoping to get him.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the obvious one versus Tampa Bay. I almost went with him.
And Mangone's like, I'm excited. Michael Thomas is gone. Who do you think I'm going to take if he takes Michael Thomas? Come on, Mangone. This is chess, not checkers.
Dean, you're the dude who played. You're the dude who played chess and took Adam Humphries one time. So
Dean,
yeah.
Dean, take
I was playing
Drew Brees.
Easy that week, I think, or guess who? What's that?
Dean, take Drew Brees. I'll take Matt Ryan. So we have the passing games of Atlanta and New Orleans covered.
Oh, wait, is this collusion, like, live on air?
Now we're in a tag team match. Like, is my hand tied too while we're doing this? Like,
I have a lot more videos to make for Mangone, so you should take Drew Brees, Dean.
It's funny, before you said that, I was thinking about Drew Brees for the block. And also, of course, he's at home versus Carolina. I'm debating between Brees, if I'm going to speak out loud, I'm just going to do my thinking process. I was thinking Brees or Baker Mayfield, to be perfectly honest.
Honestly, Baker wouldn't be a bad one either, but Brees is only 700 more.
Yeah, I just wanted to save some salary, too.
You're already paying up for Julio. You might as well pay up for quarterback.
Yeah, but if you're actually playing Matt Ryan, I don't know. I just don't like Matt Ryan, but he is facing Tampa, so.
Well, you don't want to pair him with Julio. You're better off pairing Brees with Julio.
Yeah, I'm going to play it safe, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like – this isn't fair to Mangone, is it?
Who cares? I literally tell you what to do every week.
Well, no, I'm an adult. I make my own decisions.
I know, but I tell you, I give you input every week. Didn't you got 4 seconds?
I don't need a lifeline.
You got 3 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm going to take
Dean, your time's up. I'm taking Matt Ryan.
Oh, okay. So now who's up?
Now it's Mangone, but you just got to pick at some point because
who's Mangone take for? Oh, well, yeah. Okay, Mangone, you can go. And I
can go whenever I want, man. So
go for it.
Mangone, who you get taken?
I'm thinking, man. I'm still thinking.
You just said you can go whenever you want.
No, I meant like I can go. Like I'm the last.
Guys,
pick,
people
so
don't listen to this podcast to listen to you guys take 10 minutes.
This is the good stuff. This is the juice right here.
Man,
this is terrible.
Dean, you're up, Dean. What's
you guys are never prepared. Just say someone.
I see. Like, listen, I'm in a 2-on-1 match, and you're pressuring me. Like, my goodness. Like, let me make sure this pick is right. Like, you know what I mean?
They're all right, Mangone. They're all good picks. Hunter Renfrow, that's your boy, isn't it? Did I not miss something earlier?
No,
Dean, just pick your guy.
I'm going Julian Edelman.
Oh, I like that call. That's a good one.
I do. PPR.
Well, is that how this works? Thank you, Mangone, for clarifying the scoring system. So I will take give me Brees in the dome. Yeah, but Taysom Hill's going to steal a couple touchdowns. That's going to be tilting. But yeah, let's go. Let's lock in Drew Brees.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got it. And Trav's going to have a nice video. Guys, don't forget to watch the video on Trav's Twitter at Travis Mangone. Here you go.
Yeah. By the way, Grant, just so you know, like you like tag team me here and stuff, man. Like when it's your turn when you lose, man, it's going to be we're going to find something good.
Yeah, he'll turn on you a second. He'll go heel.
I don't think I've been that mean to you, Trav.
Oh, I mean, well, tag teaming me lately, man.
Dean is bad. We have to help him. Dean has lost what? Dean,
I don't need a handicap.
You've lost way more than we have.
No, I don't need your pity.
Well, you need some money considering you're dancing at Jiggles.
Well, that's sometimes you tweet things that aren't necessarily true. Yeah, and I feel like the audio wasn't very good, so the people are like, "Well, that wasn't interesting." But the audio and the visual, as far as Mangone's tweet tomorrow, I think you'll all enjoy it. Feel free to check it out. Feel free to retweet it. It'll be good times. The people are going to like it. I think the people are going to like it, and we get to write a headline, but we'll figure that out, Grant, as well. Close strong, Grant. What do we think of as far as this slate? Do we have like an early stack, an early indication, or it's just kind of like waiting for things to open up, basically?
Baker and Kareem Hunt combined for 45 points.
But you told me to take Brees.
You wanted a strong take.
Oh.
Brees was a safer take.
I didn't want safety. Mangone?
It's safe for me.
You want a hot take?
Give me something.
Hunter Renfrow, 20 DraftKings points.
Stop it. That's a ridiculous take.
What happened last time you said that, Dean?
It was probably proven to be ridiculous.
JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are taking credit for somebody else's call 2 weeks ago?
No, I'm just saying I'm taking credit for you always being wrong.
Always.
All I know is we got audio of it, Dean. If anything happens, we'll have to hit up the RotoGrinders Twitter and tell them to create the video of me saying, Hunter Renfrow, over 20 fantasy points, you suck. That's the week, boys. Hopefully we weren't too much nonsense oriented. But, hey, again, this is the first podcast to listen to on DFS, not the last podcast. I'm not going to give you all the X's and O's. And, of course, we're only dealing with like half the information. We're going to step aside. We're going to get out of here. Good luck as far as week 12. He's Mangone. He's Grant. I'm Dean. Thanks for listening. We're out of here. Holler.